Well, hello, good morning, and welcome back to the channel. My name's Rob, and in today's video, I'm going to do a deep dive and review of my recent time aboard the Carnival Celebration, heading to the ports of St. Thomas, San Juan, and the brand new Celebration Key. So let's jump right into this XL class ship and find out, is it really excellence or XL-less? Now, after a pretty easy flight from Nashville to Miami, we picked up our rental car and headed for the Airbnb, where we met up with the rest of our cruising family, P&B's Wide World of Ports, and the Jolly Cruise vlogger, and the wifey. After a day and a half of family fun, it was time to board this boat. So we decided to drop our luggage off with the ship first thing, then return our rental car before taking a taxi back to the ship to finally get on board. Now, I have said this in the past, but I am not a huge fan of the Port of Miami. Although it is a pretty well-oiled machine, there are still plenty of areas of backup and blockage that prevent a continuing flow of traffic. So, if you get there to board early, you will be greeted with all of the guests getting off of the 3, 4, 5 cruise ships that have just ported, and all of the 3, 4, or 5 cruise ships of people trying to get on the ship. It is a mess. But I have found if you don't want to fight the traffic, just show up a little bit later, between the 11 to 12 time frame, and you should have little to no traffic at all. Now, once we did get through security, it was a pretty easy walk on the ship. The sailing out of Miami is a pretty sail away, so make sure you stop by the aft of the ship after the sail away party and wave South Beach goodbye. Oh, and you'll probably be followed out by a few other cruise ships. So, let's talk about our ship. Like I said in the intro, the Carnival Celebration is the second ship in the XL class for Carnival, built in 2022 at a gross tonnage of 180,000. And a length of 1,130 feet. It can fit 6,630 guests with 1,745 crew. It is a rather large vessel with 20 decks, and I can keep rattling on all these specs and details about different themed areas and zones it has on the ship, but how is it on an actual vacation? Well, it is a very large ship, and one thing that does kind of bother me is that the food options aren't at all near each other. And by near, I mean, if I want a Guy's Burger and my wife wants Big Shack's chicken and Madison wants pizza from Miami Slice, those are all on different decks, 17, 16, and 8 respectively. Now, I do enjoy the multiple food options. I just wish they were within a few decks of each other, because by the time I go get my pizza, wait for an elevator to go back up those 7 floors to meet back up with you wherever you found a seat, my food's no longer hot. I'm also a bit critical of the Celebration Central area and the multi-use of the Celebration stage. I get that it's a multi-use area, but as far as theater shows go, we'll get into that when we talk about the shows in a little bit. Call me old-fashioned, but just don't ask me about how I feel about getting rid of the library on ships, because quiet corners are being deleted from ships rather quickly these days, I feel, and I'm a little saddened by that. Now, along the lines of the multiple shows and the multiple food venues, there are multiple bars, all themed nicely, and with the amount of them, I don't think I ever had to wait for a drink. Now, in full transparency, I don't really drink alcohol, so it was very easy for me to walk up and grab a Sprite and go. Yes, Sprite, because they do serve Coke products now across the entire fleet, which is very, very nice. But they do also have a very big arcade. They have a huge water park that Madison had an absolute blast at, and we were the only ones there. Pro tip, go to the water park on a port day. Find a port that you don't really care about, or wait to get off the ship and just spend a little bit of extra time at that water park. You will have it all to yourself. And of course, they have the sport court area and mini golf. And of course, this is the second ship at sea with a roller coaster. So that's pretty neat as well. Bolt is pretty cool. But now that we have explored the ship, let's head to the room. Oh, but the rooms aren't quite ready yet. And the stateroom stewards want me to remind you to please subscribe to this channel. So many of you are getting all this free information, and all that I humbly ask of you in return is to please subscribe so that I could bring more and more information to you all about cruising. So, thank you so much. Oh, the cruise director just informed me the rooms are ready. Let's go check them out. Now on this sailing, we wanted to try something a little different, and that was getting a room in the family harbor area of the ship. We got a basic family harbor ocean view, which is your basic standard ocean view in the family harbor area. Now it's unlike the family harbor suites that have a split double bathroom thing. Now we got to choose our room, and I chose the room that was directly across the hall from the Family Harbor Lounge. This lounge was for Family Harbor guests only and included finger foods, snacks, and drinks throughout the day at different times. It had complimentary coffee machine, an ice cream machine, and a soda fountain for purchase, which we had the bubbles package and it worked there. Side note, the zero proof package that has now come out on Carnival was not available for this sailing, or we would have got that package. So we did get the bubbles package and it worked there. Had plenty of seatings, TVs, video games, board games, and much, much more. The Family Harbor area is all on deck 4, which is also where the kids club is. And Madison, my 5-year-old, loves the kids club. And she really enjoys the Dr. Seuss's Bookville because she's a huge reader, which is located just outside of the kids club and is open for play for parents and kids unsupervised. Overall, we enjoyed the room, though I did kind of miss having a balcony. And it wasn't great having to go all the way down to deck 4 just to go back to the room for a quick change. But the elevators were not really a big issue on this sailing, and I will say that the ice cream machine, the soda machine, and the snacks right outside the room was pretty goat. Speaking of food, let's talk about all that's included and what's not on the culinary side of this Carnival ship. So on this ship, there are kind of 3 different categories of food options. I would say the included or complimentary, which is meaning that you can have as much as you want with no cost whatsoever. The buffet, the main dining room, Blue Iguana Cantina, Miami Slice Pizza, Guy's Burgers, the Pig and Anchor Smokehouse, the Street Eat area, and the Deco Deli. Then there's kind of like the included for 1 round restaurant where it's complimentary for 1 visit, and any visit after that is a nominal fee. Those are Shebang and La Cucina del Capitano. Now, then there's your upgraded A-La-Carte dining. Nothing's free, like Bonsai Sushi, the Seafood Shack, Rudy's Sea Grill, Emerald's Bistro. Those are all restaurants that you can pay for whatever you want off of the menu. But wait, there is more. At the buffet and in the Street Eats area, there are upgraded option stands selling empanadas, donuts, wings, and some Indian cuisine. And then of course there's your traditional specialty dining. A set price gets you a meal. Most of them are dinners, but they do have some open for breakfast and for lunch. Those options are Fahrenheit 555 Steakhouse, Bonsai Teppanyaki, the Chef's Table, Carnival Kitchen, and the Thing 1 and Thing 2 breakfast. And then of course you have specialty coffee at the Java Blue Cafe. We did quite a few of these options on our sailing, and we were pleasantly happy with the food. I did a specialty dining deep dive on the steakhouse and the teppanyaki. Side note, the teppanyaki is the best specialty dining you can do on the Carnival Celebration. I will link both of those down below. You can check that out. As far as the service staff goes, we had a nice time with our room steward. Our dining staff was mostly attentive, although some items that were ordered never arrived, and they were just completely forgotten. All the maintenance staff we saw were nice and cordial. And while I was filming the ship tour, I stumbled across a huge team meeting and was met with a million smiling faces as they were just passing by as I was just trying to film the casino. After the service team, we have the entertainment team as well. Those that host deck parties, trivia, games, parades, and more were all over the top. They were hyped with the kids, which is so nice to see that Carnival charm with the staff and the kids. I know not everyone is into having kids aboard, but Carnival is mostly a family-friendly cruise option. Although with the new reward system that's very heavy pay to play, it seems like they're trying to drive into more a casino adult-driven market, which is why we've decided to try many other cruise lines, Norwegian being our favorite at the moment. MSC, you're really great too. But then of course you have the top of the fun squad. We had Marty, our cruise director, who actually just retired, I believe, like in the last week or two. So good on him, congrats. Saw him a few times on the cruise, really nice guy. I will say I have been critical of Carnival's playlist cast production in the past, but it's usually due to the lack of live instrumentation on board during the shows, so they're all just performing in front of a backing track. But I will say the cast of the playlist productions on this sailing really brought their A game. So let's go ahead and let's talk about the shows. Now the shows are in two different classes, I would say. One is in the main theater. It is smaller, more intimate, with a standard theater show, singing, dancing, music. On this sailing, those two shows were Color My World and Amor Cubano, both great shows with solid casts and solid musicians. Now the other class was the shows in the central area. Those were the huge productions with lots of people, lots of big action, aero type acts, very Cirque du Soleil type things in the most magnificent circus, great singing or playing in the case of the celestial strings, which included the string trio, which is a big standard on Carnival ships, which was also really great. I really enjoyed all those big numbers and things like that. But the layout of that central stage area, being that it goes from deck 6, 7, and 8, it's a thoroughfare and people walk through there mid-show, and it is so distracting. Not to mention, some people just sitting watching the show, they don't feel the pressure or the etiquette of the theater, and so they just talk to their friends the entire show, or they're on their phone, or, you know, it's like it's something passive, and it really distracts from the show. Casino's right behind you, and it's going off, or if you're up on 8, the bonsai teppanyaki's there, and they're setting onions on fire, and sushi's squealing, and it's just, there's so many distractions in that area. It is a total nightmare for a person who wants to sit in a quiet theater and really get immersed in the show, which I guess that's not for everybody. For me, I love jumping into the show, and it's hard to do there. That's probably my biggest criticism of the entire ship. Everything's great. That is mid. I wish we could close that off. I understand it's a multi-use space. They did bingo there, which was crazy. The amount of people at bingo and the amount of money that they got from doing bingo. They did arts and crafts there. Obviously, all the performers are practicing there. So there's a lot of multi-use space there in that, which is really nice. But man, I wish there was a way to kind of close off the thoroughfareness of the shows or of that center stage area when the shows are going. Aside from that gripe, the entertainment was great. We did a couple of trivias. We did a couple of arts and crafts. There was a ton of different stuff. We did dances and nightly shows and stuff. So the entertainment staff all across the line has been really good. Carnival is really good about having really high energy staff. And that's what's really, really awesome. Really enjoyed the onboard entertainment. Before we head into port, I'm gonna pause right here and I'm gonna introduce my daughter, Madison, who's gonna give you a kid's perspective on the Carnival Celebration.
Hi, my name is Madison. I am 5 years old, and the things I like about the Carnival Celebration, the list of things I have. So the first one on my list is going to be the Dr. Seuss Bookville. That was such a fun time. Now it is located to the side of the Penguin Room in Camp Ocean in the Kids Club. So the books is one of the things I particularly liked. Reading was one of my favorite things when I was like 3. So that has been a huge development for me. So the show's Celestial Strings. Ooh, that one was the best. Next on my list is iRoom. There was a slide-out couch that made into a bed, and that was very comfortable. There was like a space that's a bench, and it had a big window. I hid behind the curtains, and I read my book. Perfect reading spot. So that was all for our Family Harbor Ocean View. Right across was the Family Harbor Lounge. The lounge at different times of the day, they had different stuff. Like in the afternoon, they had snacks and treats. At breakfast, there was like some breakfast stuff. At lunch there was like some sandwiches and all-day open coffee maker. Also in there, there's also some seating, some gameplay, some PlayStations setups.
What'd you play?
I played the Lego villain game. Thing 1 and Thing 2, breakfast. It was super fun. And like Thing 1 and Thing 2 and Dr. Seuss and Sam I Am came. Yep, we had fun with my family. It was super fun. My best one of the family that I like best was my friend Holly. Patrick, Becca, Megan, Jason, and Julia came with us. Big shout out to Jason and Julia. The night before the last last night we had an ice cream social. That was their idea. Last thing on my list was the WaterWorks. And that is the water slides, pool, and splash pad. So there was 2 water slides that I could go on. The Twister and the Blue Lightning is the one that I could go on. There's a drop slide that was orange that I couldn't go on because that was 49 inches and up. So I couldn't go on those ones, but it was, overall, it was super fun.
So did you like the celebration?
It was like Dr. Seuss all around. And Thing 1, Thing 2, and Sam I Am, and Cat in the Hat. It was just everything Dr. Seuss. It was the best time of my life. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoy.
Well, thanks, Madison. And now let's head into port. Now on this sailing, like I said, we went to St. Thomas, San Juan, and Celebration Key. I cruise more for the ship and its amenities, so I usually don't do a lot of excursions. But on this sailing, I did walk around the port in St. Thomas towards Paradise Point. Sadly, on our sailing, it was closed for maintenance, which I guess is good that they maintain it. But on previous trips, I have been up to Paradise Point and loved that overlook. It's a great place for getting photos of all the cruise ships and of the port area and the beautiful landscape of St. Thomas. Now, also in the past, we've done an excursion to Megan's Bay Beach where I had the best solo experience with a turtle. I just happened to swim out and he just happened to swim to me and we just hung out for 30 minutes. It was amazing. Now, on to San Juan. We walked to the Pigeon Park and had a blast feeding the birds. I got to live out my Mary Poppins dream to feed the birds. And it was great. After that, we explored the beautiful architecture of San Juan, just walking around and exploring. Previously, we've gone up to the fort and we tried some mofongo at a local restaurant. Very, very good. Then finally, we come to the newest private island destination, Celebration Key. I must admit, I feel like it was a bit smaller than I expected, but I know there are plans to expand. Of course, the expansion, I'm sure, will be a water park they will charge for, but it was a fun time. Most people, when getting past the Golden Arch, find a spot and sit, which makes the front of the place feel really crowded. But when we were there, we were alongside the Conquest, and if you walked a little bit farther, you would find plenty of seating. Now, also when we were there, they were hard at work on the expansion already on the island and at the dock. With 4 ships there, I could see it being a little bit more crowded than I would like. But I feel like the idea of an island destination all to yourself like MSC's Ocean Key Marine Reserve is quickly slipping like sand through our fingers. Overall, I really did enjoy this itinerary, and I think it's a great one to add to your list. Both San Juan and St. Thomas are beautiful places full of history and culture, and as far as my feelings about the celebration as a whole, I would say it's not my favorite ship in the Carnival fleet. I love kind of more the midship, like the Magic's probably my favorite ship. And of course, I always have to tip the hat to the Paradise, which I will see very soon. When you see this video, I will be getting on board the Paradise. Super, super excited to that, heading back to Celebration Key so I could do some more information there. It's a good ship. Overall, I think it's a little bit too big for itself at some times, but there are tons of options for food and fun, and our family had a really, really, really good time. Well, that's going to wrap it up for our review of the Carnival Celebration. We had an absolute blast of a time, and we would definitely do it again. Like I said earlier, I'm actually just about to get on the Carnival Paradise heading back to Celebration Key. So if you have any questions or anything like that, leave them down below. I'll actually be posting this video just before I get to Celebration Key. So if you have any questions, I should be able to answer them then. My name's Rob.
And my name's Madison.
From Here Today.
Where tomorrow?
And we'll see you
there.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye now.
If you like this video and want to see more, please head on over to the channel and subscribe. And if you want to get notified, ring that little bell. We upload new videos every week.